My job is to give you a venue's perspective. So I'm going to do that in 3 parts. I'm going to show off for 2 minutes. I'm going to moan for 2 minutes. And then I'm going to celebrate and look forward for 2 minutes. If you know us and you know me well, then you'll have heard the showing off bit before. So now's a good moment to tweet, look at your phone, sort yourselves out, okay? And for the rest of you, if you didn't know already, this is a wonderful place. We've been open for 3.5 years. We put a whole load of shows on, this stage, theatre, music, dance, comedy. We pull in local audiences and from way further afield to see that work generated by local artists, but also some of the best national small-scale touring work on offer. We also have over 25 regular dance classes every week. We've got a gallery that is showing the work of early to mid-career artists, exploring how and why art is made. We've got artist studios upstairs, and we've got a beautiful shop selling contemporary craft, often bringing makers to the market for the very first time. And we support artists. We do lots of one-to-one work in formal ways, but we also run scratch nights and various other kinds of events that enable artists to share their ideas and showcase ideas and test stuff out. So we're an art centre. Really hard to do, really easy to understand, not that unusual. What makes us distinctive is we share this building with the homelessness charity Crisis. We're not next-door neighbours, we cohabit. And through that partnership, we're able to bring homeless people or give them a whole series of offers, one of which is to be trainees, to learn transferable skills useful in the job market outside, but also to join our volunteer team of ushers, where they become service providers rather than service users. And indeed, we can invite them, and we do invite them, to work with professional artists to make work to a high standard, and instead of being preoccupied entirely with process, to also be thinking about product and quality. And as a result, we can put on exhibitions in the gallery, such as our Vessels exhibition with Pitt Rivers coming up in May, or we can create a permanent installation such as the mirror piece that climbs 3 floors on the other side of that wall, or we can co-create a performance like Hidden Spire, funded by the Arts Council, that will be on this stage in September. And through that process, the artists become the homeless people become part of an ensemble of artists generating and creating work that is good enough to be selling to the public. But what it also means is that you can walk through that front door with a big fat label on your head which says homeless, problem, service user. And then while you're here, you can choose to change that label into volunteer, into contributor, into audience member, into artist. And as a result, what we're doing here is creating a new kind of public space, which is genuinely shared. I don't know about you guys, but for most people, it's a very odd thing to do to wander into a homeless estate centre unless you're homeless or you happen to work there. It's an unusual thing for a homeless person to wander into a gallery or theatre, but both those things happen in this building all day, every day, and nobody has got a problem with it. We're creating a way of enabling some of the most severe and multiple disadvantaged people in our community to be part of an open public society instead of being segregated into ghettos. That's the showing off. You can turn your phones off. And it all sounds great, and it is great, but how do we pay for it? Well, we run a very tight ship. We hire every inch of the building as much as we can. We flog anything that will move. We spend very little, and we attract cool funding, which actually saves the day, and very welcome it is too. But here's the moan. Now, just a little preface. I don't moan very much, I really don't. I'm very nice, I like people, I like the people who come in this building. We get on well, we wouldn't be able to do anything unless we got on well. But this is a provocation, so I thought I should just share with you some of the bits that really wind me up. It costs a fortune just to open the front door. Just the heat, the light, the security, the maintenance. Did you know you have to have some kind of insurance about pigeons? I didn't know that before we started. This place is ridiculous. And then artists don't get that. You know, do you mind if we pop in on a Sunday to rehearse? Well, we do actually. The inbox is full of artists saying, can you help with space? Can you help with marketing? Can you help with fees? Can you help with match funding? Can you help with advice and stuff? Yes, we'd love to help. But what is strange to me is some artists seem to think that just because they've decided to be an artist, the rest of us owe them a living. Even when nobody wants to see their art. Project funders. So they say to you, you must do a realistic budget, full cost recovery. Absolutely, yes. And then they want to know how much money of your own resources you're going to put in the pot, which by definition means you're not getting full cost recovery. Anyway. Volunteers. We depend on volunteers. There's a load of them here. We love the volunteers. We could not do it without the volunteers. But you know who puts the most volunteer labour in? The staff. They all work way beyond their staff contract just to be able to keep the show on the road and keep the whole thing moving along. Mind you, I'll confess here, that's not... The artists actually put in more volunteer hours than the staff do to get the shows on, and we do notice that. The point is that neither of those things are recognised. So, oh, hang on. That's the other one. When you move away from hires, okay, and you take the risk yourself on the guarantee or the split or whatever it might be, you lose money. Or at best, you make less than you would to hire it out to local business for the night. And we're only charging 12 quid to see some of the best theatre you could possibly see. We can't get enough chairs in the room to actually make it commercially viable. And even then we can't often sell all the spaces, the chairs that we have got, because people say it's too expensive. 12 quid? That is not too expensive. I'm sorry, it is not too expensive, but for some reason people seem to think it is. And as for the visual arts, don't get me started. Artists queuing out, wanting to put work in our gallery, with absolutely no plan about how they're going to pay for it. They don't know how to pay themselves, and they've no idea how we're going to get any money. You can't ticket it, you can't sell it. I mean, how on earth is that supposed to work? And then, if I had a quid for every time somebody said, doesn't Richard Branson live in Oxfordshire? Couldn't you ask him for some money? As if they don't realise that getting money out of major donors is a major project for which we have no time or energy. And as for community fundraising, tin rattling, and crowdfunding, which is tin rattling online, that's just more work to get money out your mates and your mum and dad to pay your salary for you. And it very rarely is worth the effort you put into it until you get to the point where you can hoover money out of some people's direct debits, and we're never going to be at that point. And then we get to the magic wand of social investment. Well, that worked for us big time when we opened, and I'll come on to that. But generally speaking, to be quite honest with you, I don't know what they're going on about half the time. They just use such strange language. I've got no idea what they're talking about. And what we need is social investors who will sit down with us so that we can co-create investment packages together that actually help us do the thing that we want to do and that they want us to do, and can create patient capital and can flex around the needs of the project. And where they're prepared, if they are interested in our social impact, they're prepared to take a hit on that rather than expect us to take all of that and confuse us with their strange finance language. Right, that's that. So, lo and behold, surprise, surprise, that means we need funding. And the really, really good news is that we've got some, which is why we're still here. And they come from national foundations and from the local authority, and some of them in the room. Thank you so much. But what is it that they want to fund? And they're giving us core funding, which is absolutely crucial. And what they're interested in is the work we do with homeless people, the social impact. They understand, because they're bright, they understand that they have to help us with the whole thing, because we have to have an art centre for homeless people to be included in. So they get that, but the hook is the homelessness and the social impact. And I'm fine with that, because that is core business for us. That's what we're here for, no problem. But it's interesting. Where do you go to get the money that is looking for the artistic outcome, that isn't interested so much in the social impact and the work with homelessness? And aside from ACE, where are the funders who will help with a small gallery or creating a new sculpture or supporting a local emerging artist or helping with a local theatre maker? Where are those funders? If they're out there, how are we supposed to find them when we can't afford to employ a fundraiser? It is much easier to raise money to work with homeless people than it is to raise money to work with artists. So moaning aside, the truth is that we want to help artists make and show their work. We really do, and we do it all the time. And our problem is that we don't actually have anything, and I'm really embarrassed about this, we don't have anything in our core budget to be able to commission work. I hate that. And I hate the fact that we end up asking artists to work for nothing or next to nothing. It makes no sense. And I'm worried about our sustainability as an organisation. We've done so well, and we've got fantastic foundations in our relationships, our partnerships, our people, our vision, and our building. But looking forward, the money is really wobbly. It's really, really tricky. So, 4 years ago, I got this job, and this place was a building site, and we were due to open in 6 months, and there was absolutely no guaranteed revenue income whatsoever at that point. And I wandered down to a thing called Oxford Jam, which is the precursor to Marmalade. You can see what we did there. And I met a man called Ben, who sat there, and he introduced me to Kath Venturesome, who is Gareth here, who signed up. I can't see him, he's not here. He was going to be here, from Kath Venturesome. And they said, yes, you can have a loan facility, but we'll only do that because we've never loaned to a startup before if it's underwritten by somebody or other. So we went to the city council over there who guaranteed the loan. As a result, we had some working capital, and we were able to get through our first year, protect the cash flow, sort the business out, and start doing something that funders they could go on and have confidence in. That was all great. And of course, to get that loan, we had to do the business plan and all the rest of it. But what swung it was the vision, with the relationships and trust. That's what swung it. So here are my 4 things that I'm suggesting going forward. I need a drink. For venues and organisations like ours, bring money and enterprise into the heart of what you do. Link it directly to the vision. Too often, money is left to the ops manager and the finance manager to worry about while the creatives get on with the fun stuff. Solving the money problem is everybody's problem. For artists, yes, we do want to work with you. Bear with me. And despite my moan, that is actually what we're here for. That is the point. But please, have the conversation with us about how to solve the money problem. And we'll have the conversation with you about how to develop and showcase your work. We have to have both conversations at the same time. Funders and investors, we need you to give us money. Give us money and we will do amazing things and we will help you meet your aims. But we can also give you a financial return. We can only give you that financial return if you are prepared, as I said before, to give us patient capital or loan us patient capital and flex the way in which you work to support us rather than add another stress. And finally, to all of us, although there are some tortured souls working in the arts, generally speaking, it's a social, relationship-based place to work. It's that kind of world. And it's through those relationships and through those partnerships and through those friendships that we actually solve the problem. So despite what I've done this morning, let's stop moaning. We choose to work in this sector because it is fun. And it is fun. I mean, nobody dies if we have to work late to put a gallery install up, okay? So let's get the stress in proportion. The fact of the matter is that we do this because we love it. And it's great to work in the arts, even if the money is rubbish. It's all about the people.
Well done, Jeremy. Very good.